Before the trafficking, there were Stafettes, and honestly, it was like comparing a Nokia 3310 to an iPhone 15. Both let you make calls, but not exactly under the same conditions. Produced from 1959 to 1980, the Stafettes did their job. Forward cab, engine that literally screamed right next to you. Comfort is similar to a bar stool with power between 32 and 43 horsepower. Needless to say, highway climbs were a real test of faith. Despite all that, Renault made over 500,000 units used by craftsmen, firefighters, paramedics, recreational vehicle owners, and the police. So we can say that the Stafettes had a great run, but they needed to be replaced by something more modern. In 1980, the revolution arrived with Trafic, now celebrating its 45th anniversary. So let's look back at its history. 501. We might mock utility vehicles, complain about them on the road, and consider them ugly. Ultimately, we all share a special connection with them. We love cars and utility vehicles not just for their beauty or power, but also for the nostalgia they bring. And the Trafic is one of those vehicles full of memories. By the late 1970s, the Estafette had lived its life. Its design is more than outdated. So, in September 1980, it's time for modernity. The Renault Trafic arrives and changes everything. Gone is the sluggish little van, replaced by a boxy, sturdy, and above all, very versatile utility vehicle. From its release, the Trafic was available as a panel van, glazed van, covered pickup, chassis cab, with 2 roof heights, 2 lengths front or rear wheel drive, and payloads from 800 to 1,400 kg. In short, Renault thought of everything, from plumbers to funeral coach builders. We didn't know it yet, but when it was released, it introduced a design that would be used for the Renault Espace that Matra was preparing and that France would discover 3 years later. The Trafic made other utility vehicles of its era seem outdated. Yet, looking back, this Trafic seems fragile and from another era, especially on the inside. However, it maintains a modern profile lasting at least until 2000. This first Trafic is actually still common in India, where it was launched in 2007 under the name Tata Vinger, for a van released in 1981. You have to admit, longevity is worth discussing. The innovation is really just common sense. Renault draws from its mass-produced cars. The engines come from the Renault 18 and 20. Gasoline engines range from 1.4 to 2.0 liters with 4882 horsepower. Diesel engines from 1.9 to 2.5 liters with 5875 horsepower. Not enough to compete with a Porsche, but more than enough to carry 3 tons of plaster and a wet dog. And for the first time, a Renault utility vehicle offers real driving comfort. Not a sedan, but at least you didn't show up at the construction site with a broken back. And that allowed it to achieve immediate success. Its robustness and multiple versions make it the ideal companion for all professions. And Renault doesn't rest. In 1985, a Trafic 4x4 arrives. Highly sought after in rural areas, in 1986, it gets its first facelift with a black vertical grille. Then, in 1989, a new, more modern front end. This model lasted until 2000, which means a 20-year career. Almost 1 million of the first Trafic units were produced. And besides the Tata Winger, it will also be manufactured under the name Inocom Permas in Malaysia, and in China as well by the manufacturer Shanjiang. Starting from 1994, it will carry the Opel and Vauxhall logos under the name Arena, or even Chevrolet in Brazil with the Space Van between 1997 and 2000. Even better, an American-style camper version was sold in the United States of America during the Renault American Motors Corporation period under the delightful name Winnebago Le Charro. By the way, let's talk for a moment about this funny camper. In the United States, these motorhomes are a kind of lifestyle for many people. And for a long time, a whole industry has developed around it, including, among others, a company from Iowa, Winnebago Industries. This company has made motorhomes since 1958. After the oil crises of 1973 and 1979, Winnebago began considering a fuel-efficient model in the early 1980s. In order to meet these requirements, the company's leaders thought about using a European base instead of an American one, with a diesel engine if possible. In the end, they made a deal with Renault. It should be noted that the French brand had been well established in the United States since the acquisition of American Motors Corporation. The first-generation Trafic, which had just been released, was the perfect base. Winnebago launched the Charro in 1983 with a 2.1L four-cylinder engine offering 57 horsepower in diesel and 75 in turbo diesel. The design of this motorhome had been specially developed to reduce fuel consumption, and it's sometimes hard to recognize the Trafic under so much cosmetic work. The Charro was never a big commercial success, but continued selling until 1992. Although Renault left the United States, Chrysler imported the chassis for Winnebago from France. After 1988, around 15,000 units would be made. The Charro received a facelift in 1987 and a more powerful 2.2L gasoline engine, but it was also heavier, without radically changing its commercial career. It was particularly lacking in power, considering the weight of the vehicle, and the gearbox wasn't really suitable. It was eventually replaced by the Rialta, powered by compact V6 engines from Volkswagen. So, in 1993, it was definitely the end of Renault in the United States. When the second generation of the Trafic came out in the fall of 2000, it had to be just as innovative as the first. It was mainly due to its design, especially the iconic bulge above the cab that became its signature. Then, because of its comfort, electric windows, air conditioning, global positioning system, and having a global positioning system in your utility vehicle. In the early 2000s, that was really classy. On the technical side, Renault refines its offering. No more 36 different body styles, they focus on vans and cab chassis, leaving the rest to the coach builders. Suspension closer to that of a car, modern ergonomics, and above all, a reliability that will allow the Trafic 2 to stay fresh until 2014. It has a 2-liter gasoline engine with 120 horsepower, but mainly offers diesels. 1.9 LDCI, 82 100 HP, and 2.5 LDCI, 140 HP. In 2006, the 2 LDCI arrived, available in 90, 115, and 146 horsepower versions. In 2012, the range was simplified to only 2 diesel versions, 90 and 115 horsepower. To top it off, the Trafic was named International Van of the Year in both 2002 and 2012. In 2014, Renault introduced the Trafic 3, which is 28 centimeters longer and roomier. Think of it as a mobile office. Basically, you can plug in your computer, hold a Zoom meeting, and still deliver your pallets of tiles. The comfort has clearly improved, with a whole range of driving aids, an automatic transmission available, and real passenger space. With the Space Class version, which turns the Trafic into a very important person shuttle, Renault claims no less than 275 different versions. If you can't find a Trafic that suits you, it means you're very picky. With more than 2.5 million units sold in 45 years and a presence in over 50 countries, the Trafic has become a pillar of the market. The Renault Trafic is like a reliable Swiss Army knife, always useful, always there when you need it, and able to adapt to any situation. From craftsmen to very important person drivers, it has served generations and is set to mark its 50th anniversary with many miles still ahead. And do you have any memories with the Renault Trafic? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. It's very important so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos.